Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to take a look at the price of Theta and Bitcoin and maybe a couple others, total three. We can see right now Theta is on an 8, which means in about 38 minutes we're going to get a 9. So the question I have is that 9 going to be able to reverse the price? We'll see. We'll see. I like the fact that this count looks pretty good, right? We had a 1, 2 below the 1, 3 below the 2, 4 below the 3, 5 below the 4, 6 below the 5, and 7 below the 6. And now we have an 8. You can start to see 7 and 8 are beginning to be doji candles, which means the sellers are getting exhausted, right? This is what this indicator is. You don't use it necessarily by itself, but TD sequential, right, gives you a sequential count of when the trend may be either getting prone for a pullback and then continuation, or when we're going to have a reversal. So, that's kind of how it works. When I'm looking at the price of Theta, we did let's see, did we retest the bull market support band? We came pretty close. I mean, we already tested it. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 times, right? Which is good to see. If you look back, the last time Theta has done something like that, right? We tested it 1, 2, almost 3, 4 times. So maybe about 3 or 4 times. So it's not uncommon to see something like that. And what did we get here? So if we look closely at this, actually, you know what? Let's take a bars pattern here just to get a visual, right? We had this wave to the upside, and then we had a 3-way pullback. And then we were essentially off to the races at that point. So let's see if we can start to see anything that resembles what it did the last time we had a ABC pullback in a running flat off the bull market support band. So here we go. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is just me interpreting the data and speculating on what it may be. So here's the fractal, right? You could see we had this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, right? Then we came down A, B, and C. We started to develop a basin here, and then we were off to the races. So what do we have here? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We have an A. We come up for B. This B was pretty big though, right? This B wasn't so big. And then we came all the way down in wave C. So my question is, are we going to tread sideways for a little bit before accelerating to the upside? I mean, it looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to match it with the price. So look at this. It kind of looks pretty interesting, don't you think? I mean, it looks nice. Now the thing about fractals is they're there as guidelines. They're not there as decisive a decisive direction, right? So just take it with as you see it, right? So that's how I'm looking at this. And the reason why I just didn't pick out a fractal out of thin air, right? I'm picking out a fractal based off where we were before, right? So this gives the fractal a little bit of confluence. I would say a lot of confluence, right? Because what we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C on the bull market support band. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, right? On the bull market support band. So it's basically, in the same area that it should be. So where this fractal came from, right? let me zoom back in so I can see it, is sort of that, second wave that retested the bull market support band. So when you look at over here, it is the second wave, right? It looks a lot different as far as the correction, because this correction we can see is a running flat, right? It came down in A, came up in B, and then it came all the way back down in C. So the fact that, here's the top, the fact that it came all the way up and broke the top gave it a lot of wiggle room for it to then correct back down. You see what I mean? So then we developed a base down in here. This did not break the top, right? We had an A, we came up for B, and that's all we got. And instead of a nice, orderly correction, we got a big slam dunk, right? It just slammed down, which I kind of prefer because it gets it over with faster, right? And then we start going into this base in here, So that's kind of, this is the bullish case, by the way. Again, this is all contingent on Bitcoin holding above its bull market support band. So this is an idea. If Bitcoin can show up and hold the line, right? Hold the line, then I see no issue with Theta, starting to hash out a bottom in here, right? And even going back to, if you seen the fractal I shared yesterday, right? With I've known Blockchain Backer. I've shared it. There's a couple of them that I've shared as far as this type of correction, but I'm really starting to like it because, let's go to the total 3. And when you look at the total 3, you can see, right, that same correction, we didn't have a breakdown here like Theta did, right? So Theta's already down here, which is, I like that, right? Because if I'm, dollar cost averaging, it looks, it's in a better position. So I'm still waiting. I'm not going all in, not even close. I want to see proof that this thing can turn around, right? I would rather wait until we break this, or even break this, before you take a serious position, right? I mean, obviously we've been accumulating for a long time, right? So I'm just saying, speaking in as far as if you want to put some a trade in. Now for me, I can trade the little ranges throughout the day, but if you want to put a serious leverage trade in for a swing trade, you better make dang sure that this thing doesn't break down. I mean, or just set your stop loss real tight. But the problem with that is, the market makers, they stop hunt before the big move, right? So a lot of times I'll wait for the impulse and then I'll buy the 3-way pullback. So the question is this an impulse, and is this a 3-way pullback? Well, it could be, right? It could be. We have the test, right? So I don't mind, starting to DCA a little bit. It just doesn't look finished. It looks funny to me. It looks like, right, we came down, we had this big dump, and then bam, we stopped. Like it just needs, I feel like it needs to come down here, right? Maybe we come back up and then back down, right? And that's kind of my main thing here. So let me show the price up close. Actually, let's go to Bitcoin because that would be more ideal. I'll go to the 1 hour. So, yeah, it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have an A, B, C. This is a flat, an expanded flat, right? We came up here in the retracement levels, right? We got rejected right in here. I believe that's the 618 or so. We couldn't get above this resistance, and then bam, we took it down and we broke this low, right? But the reason why, it didn't do something like this is because, you have to take time and sort of divide it by the price, right? If we drop from here to here in a very short amount of time, then it makes sense that we didn't just keep dropping, right? Or it makes sense that we didn't just continue falling. So, like, if the price were to fall like this, something similar to that, right, we could have got down deeper and it would have looked like a better looking correction, it would have better symmetry, right? But because it went down so fast, now it looks a little funny, right? I mean, this does not match up with this. So that's kind of like, I'm kind of waiting to see. So what I'm thinking is this is not finished, right? So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, and then we come down, right? We're starting our C leg. So this is A, this is B, this is C, but I don't think C is finished. I think now when you look, I could be wrong, but this looks like a three-way pullback. Maybe we get up a little higher. Maybe we shoot up way up here, right? I mean, we have to break this in order for things to get exciting, right? At least in the short term, we have to break that. But, I'm not too sure it's going to do that yet. Now, it has a better chance if it can just do this and build a base, and then we can attempt to break it, right? We would have more energy, right? When you think of a base, think of like a coil, right? Inside of a motor, and it's coiling, right? It's the energy is surging through that coil. And, sort of the bigger it is, the more sustainable you are, right? Instead of just these bounces up and down. Kind of one way to look at it. So if I had to guess, not financial advice, but I'm thinking this looks like a three-way move, and I think we got to come back down and finish. So that would kind of look done. Then it would look more complete to me, and I would feel a little better, starting to DCA a little bit more. But, again, it could be done. It technically is a three-way move, right? We have three, right? So we have this impulse, right? I mean, I guess you could say it's an impulse. It does have a lot of correctiveness to it. So that's why I'm very skeptical about it. But that's what happens during a bigger base, right? When I zoom out, like when I look at Ethereum, right, we are inside of a base, and this base is at the bull market support band. So speaking of Ethereum, the biggest problem I see is Ethereum. Ethereum has lost the bull market support band. Ethereum is dangerously close to the bottom here. And it's Saturday, which means tomorrow is the weekly close. So if we look at the weekly candle, right, and we know they should have a lawsuit, right, with Ethereum coming out any day, right? I mean, they already gave them the Wells notice. So when they officially, I don't know if it's priced in or not, but when they officially come out with the lawsuit, I think if we do dump down, right, we're going to dump where? Probably down in here. Right, somewhere down in there. If we do dump down there, the narrative, there always has to be a narrative. What's the narrative, right? I mean, before it was the war, right? The bombs and things like that. So now what is it going to be? Well, I can't think of anything. I mean, we are in an election year, so there could be a lot of distractions and weird things going on. Scare tactics, right? They want to scare you into submission, into their into their new world order sort of agenda, right? But if we do come down here, if they come out with Ethereum, okay, we're attacked, the SEC is going after you, that's going to be the narrative of why we came down, right? And it already looks pretty weak. So if the market dumps because of that, or, that means the market was going to dump anyways, that is just the narrative to sort of basically add rocket fuel to their already short position, right? Because the market makers already know, right, that the people who have all the money trading the biggest position, they know what's going to happen, right, from a narrative perspective. And they feed into that, right? But for us, or I should say for them, it's priced in. For us, we have to, sort of adapt to it. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on Ethereum. It doesn't look too good, right? Because this candle here is an engulfing candle that's closing below all of these candles up here, right? So we have these candles up here, right? And we have a wick off the bull market support band, off the bull market support band, right? Off the bull market support band. And we're basically ranging, but then look at this candle. It dumped. So it basically broke this range, right, of the closes. And now we're below the bull market support band. So this can get, a little bigger if it wanted to, right? And then in all seriousness, it would look more like a completed correction. We would have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? Get down here somewhere, then start to find a base, right? And then we can start to get out of here. Now, again, the summer months are coming. Do we get another summer lull, right? A summer sideways event? That's totally possible. And for that, I say this is probably what would happen if that's the case. So you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 5 waves up and we developed a sideways base. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5. So does that mean we now develop another sideways base? Right? This would actually be the best thing for Bitcoin in the event of a bearish situation. Right? So if Bitcoin's going to be bearish, we want it to be still ranging at the top here as opposed to the bottom. So as long as it can hold in this area, right, actually more so up here, right, if it can range in here, then it's going to actually be more bullish going out of the all-time high, right? Because the all-time high is still technically here and here, right? So if we want the most momentum to get out, right? Because look, Bitcoin has been going up since 2023. So all of 2023, right? And then we get to 2024. And now we're sitting here in May, right? So it's been going up, not quite a year and a half, but about a year and a half. So it's going up, 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 right? And then, of course, it had a little break in here. The question is, does it need a little break again? Right? So look what happened when it had a little break. It had a nice pump to the upside. So if we get another break, we can have another big pump to the upside. Because the problem is, right, if we're going to continue to be bullish, which I'm totally fine with, and I would hope so, then when I say bullish, I'm talking about from a time perspective, right? So if this is an ABC and we hit the bull market support band, we do a little range and then we continue higher, then yeah, it'll be a correction. But I think the push up, it would lose momentum faster, right? We would lose momentum faster because the more you go up, the more you lose momentum, right? So for example, if I'm moving, like, let's say this is the all-time high, and I'm moving up and up and up, I start to lose momentum, right? But if this is the all-time high, and I develop a base, right, and I'm moving up, and then I'm taking my time, accumulate, it sets up for a bigger move, right, breaking this high, because it had time to rest. It had time to relax. It had time to cool off the oscillators. It had time for people to accumulate. It had time for people to get used to this new price. The bigger the base, like, the higher in space. It was developing a foundation, basically like a launch pad, so that it can, launch itself higher. As opposed to having something small like this, you still can break out and you still have a good chance, but you would lose momentum a lot quicker. So you have to ask yourself, as an investor, which would I prefer? Would I prefer a smaller run but faster, or a bigger run but might take more time? Right? So that's sort of, what the deal is. For me, I honestly don't care. I'm really like, hey, whatever it is, I'm just blessed to be a part of, this new crypto revolution, right? Because imagine being born in 2030, right? You would have missed it, right? Or imagine being born, right? I mean, even later than that. I mean, I would say like the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, but you had the stock market. And the stock market was, especially in the 90s and 2000s, it was actually really well. I don't think as good as crypto, but, you use what you got. So that's kind of where we are with Bitcoin. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So when you look at it, this whole correction, we do have a completed almost, right, A, B, C. So A, we come up for B, and then we come down for C, or actually a WXY. So if this is going to come up and then come back down, right, and then sort of base out, the problem with that, I see, is then what's going to happen is the bull market support band is going to keep doing this, right? And then the price is going to base out in here, and then when it tries to hit it, it's going to get rejected, and then we might have to go lower. So that's why you run the risk of that happening if you lose the bull market support band. And then if that happens, right, we're definitely taking all summer for that. Now, there is a chance we can break below it and then quickly shoot back out, right? I mean, we did that over here, right? We came down, we got rejected, but we finally busted through. So this is, it was risky, right? But what I'm fearing is, if this occurs, the altcoins would get really hit hard. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But if it does happen, it is what it is. We would probably, again, come back down somewhere about 50K area, maybe 47, 53K. And, it would look like a better, at least through time, a better correction. More confident that the bottom is in. Even though if we do this, everybody's going to think, no, we're going much lower. Right? So I'm just saying right now, if we do come down here and I make a bullish video, or let's say somebody makes a bullish video, chances are they're not going to want to hear that. That's just the way it is, like when people are bullish and the sentiment is very good, and you talk bearish, they don't like it, right? Most people, I'm not saying you guys, I'm just saying in general, when I see people posting in a bull market bearish things, or when we're in a bear market and you post bullish things, people seem to, but anyway, I think with all that being said, we have a very good chance at having the bottom be in. And I say that also because we did bounce off the bull market support band. And then also the altcoins, if you look back when the altcoins made their first move. So this was C19 and we had our very first wave to the upside. So if you look at the first wave, we kind of had this 3-wave correction and we consolidated before. And I've shared this before. But essentially, yeah, I really like the way this looks. And then also this would make sense because we would still have more downside, right? And when I look at the smaller time frames, yeah, especially like on Bitcoin, I mean, the altcoins surprisingly didn't break the low like Bitcoin did, right? It had this move, ABC, 1, 2, maybe we get 3, 4, 5, and we come down in here before coming back up. So if I take the fractal and I match it back, we can see it's starting to look a little better, right? It gives us that correction back down in here. It finishes up this move. And then we can, if we, so put it this way. Here's a low. Here's a higher low. If we make another higher low, right? It's basically all going to come down to this week, I think. Is this coming week is going to be important, right? Especially this week and next week, right? If we can hold right here, then it's going to increase my confidence big time that the low is in, because we tested the bull market support band, we held it. A higher low, we tested it again. We come up even higher, we test it again, right? So, and then if we start, especially if we start bouncing in here, then it's going to look really, really good for this fractal to play out. So that's what I like to see. That's what I really would like to see. So it all comes down to if we can keep, holding above here. Let's see, what else? If we do lose this low here, then we're most likely coming down here to here, right? Which wouldn't be such a bad thing, right? We would just have to deal with the summer months. So you can see, right, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, finish up for 5, right? We come back up for B and a B wave. So this whole thing would be A. It would be a zigzag, a big complex B, and then come all the way down in C, and then go to the moon, right? That would kill a lot of time. That would kill a lot of time, and it would kind of make sense, right, that it would do that because it's right in the middle of the retracement levels as well. And then it would also develop another base, because you can see, look how big this base is, right? That's why I don't think, we're going in a bear market per se. I think this is just a correction, because why would the price basically spend 2 to 3 years in here going sideways, or 2.5, I think, going sideways, just to come up and then come back down? I mean, it kind of doesn't make sense. So if we are going to be bearish, then we got to create another base in here, right? So you build a base, you break out. You build another base, right, so that you can gather as much momentum accumulation as you can to get out, right? The problem right now is the season too, right? Volume is down. There's not a lot of volume right now, especially as we get into the summer months. the volume sort of slows down. So you can't really get any significant moves. I've noticed on my trades, I have a hard time getting my orders filled, right? Or I have a hard time closing my trade because it doesn't want to fill it, right? So can you imagine if you had like $10 million? You can't really fill your trades, right? I mean, unless you're doing the ETF thing and all that crap. But yeah, I think we're at a very interesting crossroads. So yeah, that's where we are. So going back to Theta, we do have a bearish 2-day engulfing candle. Let's look at the daily chart. Okay, let's look at the weekly chart. The weekly chart did the same thing as Ethereum did, but it's holding above the bull market support band. You can see all these wicks in here. And then we have this engulfer that came down. So next week is going to be the big tell, right? Does this engulfing candle cascade it down here? If it does, then you know what? Let's just get it over with, right? That's the way I see it. If we have to come down and break through it, then let's just hope that it's fast and furious and we get down and we backtest this area right in here, right? And then if I put the retracement up, let's put the retracement right there, up to here. And that, I mean, we already had a 702, right? We could even come down to the 786. And then if you look at the bright side on this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we have? We have a 1, 2, 1, 2. And the 2 back tested wave 1. And then what else we have? We also have the back test of your big range that we've been in, right? So this range, coming back down to back test it is totally not out of, totally could happen. And it's not out of the norm. It's actually normal for that to happen, right? Anytime you develop a big area and you break out, you have the chance of flagging out continuing, or we can just drizzle back down, back test the bull market support band, and then continue higher. And I mean much higher. So that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, I still expect, again, my first videos were back here in October on Theta. And I've been saying we need to get up here in the retracement level. I still believe that, right? If this is all we get, then hey, that's all we got. But I don't think so, right? I mean, we have 3. If this is a correction, then it is what it is. But I think this can turn into a nice 1, 2, 1, 2. This is basically contingent on Bitcoin breaking the bull market support band. It would actually be more bullish for Theta at the end of the year because you'd get this mega pump to the upside. That might even blow past the retracement levels, right? So something like this, where you get a 1, 2, 1, 2, huge. And then you get a big 3 that gets you back to the all-time high, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you get a 3-way pullback, maybe play around, and then you have another 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how high it's going to go. I'm just drawing it. And then another 4, 5, 4, 5, because you had this 1, 2, 1, 2. So yeah, I think either way, as long as Theta holds this area and does not lose 87 cents, right? We cannot lose that, right? If we lose this low, then the bear market is still in full swing, right? If we lose, that 90, 87 cent area, then all of that was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's how it would be. And all that, that would be an A, B, C. So, that's kind of, we're at that crossroads in here. Like I've been saying, we have to hold above this backtest level. So here we go. We have 14 seconds left. Let's see if we get the 9. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. We got the 9. So that doesn't mean it's going to blast off right away. That doesn't mean it's going to reverse. I mean, we can, it could take, if this 9 is going to play out, which it may or may not, it could take some time in here, right? It can come all the way back down, come back up, come back down, maybe tag the low, maybe do a little Wyckoff before reversing. But the point is, the 9 is letting you know, hey, we're getting exhausted. So yeah, I think it looks good. I like Theta because it has a nice 3-wave shape, right? When I go to Bitcoin, or let's see, XRP is, it kind of looks like a 1-2, 1-2. It's holding this trend in here. It's developing a base. It looks good. The Litecoin is, I'll talk about Litecoin. Look at Theta versus Bitcoin. We have a 9 buy here. So that's good. Let's see. But yeah, I don't know if that 9 will play out simply because Bitcoin does not have a 9, right? Look what happened the last time Bitcoin had a 4-hour 9, right? We broke out. It wasn't a trend shift. It wasn't a reversal. It was a pullback, right? So I posted about that video saying it could be a reversal or it can be a trend change. So, but yeah, when you look at Theta, it has a nice 3-wave shape, but Bitcoin does not have a nice 3-wave shape. This is not proportional with this, right? So you kind of want to see something finish out in here. So that's kind of where I'm at. And then we also have these green dots down in here. And we also have this 9 here. So we could come back down and back test this 9 down in here. And if we do get down in here, it's going to look a lot cleaner, right? So, and we still have Saturday and Sunday before that weekly close occurs. Now, if we close where we are, it's going to be the lowest weekly close since back over February. So back over here. But yeah, I mean, we could come back down and retest it before creating some type of base, or long story short, we come down and we retest, right, in an ABC, kind of like what we did over here, right? We would do something like that and then go rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways go, or A, B, C, then go. Or we can just build a base here and go. So that's kind of the 3 options I'm seeing. They're all leading to the upside. As far as XRP goes, I mean, we're still, XRP hasn't been in a trend, right? This whole thing has been one giant accumulation, right? So we've been in sideways, we break out, and now we're going sideways again. So we're just, just ranging, right? And if you look here, we're ranging in here as well. So very boring, but then again, just have to wait on Bitcoin. H-bar. H-bar looks pretty good still. I mean, we came down to the bull market support band. We held it nicely. And then we had that big fake pump. It could still be considered a running flat. And look what set it off. Look at that. we had a daily 9 buy down in here. So that really exploded the price. That was nice. Did anything else have a daily 9 buy? Let's see. No, it didn't. Right. On total 3, we had a daily 9 not so long ago, but it seems to be kind of fizzling out. But back to H bar here, we had a nice 9 here. I think that was the same 9. I'm not sure. I have to look at the date again. But yeah, on H bar it could be a running flat. So boom, 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 boom. We come up, we come back down, right, without breaking this low. And now we're holding above the bull market support band. We had this pump, and now we're flagging out. So it's really going to be seeing if we can get, I mean, we have a long way to go from here to get through all of these retracement levels. So it's going to be tough. Now, I would expect probably a little bit more correcting, because if you look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even counting the correction. So I would expect something like this before another pump, unless of course this is a running flat. Now when you look at things like ADA was here, right? Here's our range, and ADA broke the range, and it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an expanded flat. We came down here. So look at ADA. We also had a 9 on the daily. Doesn't look like it's playing out so well, but last time we had a 9, we had a pretty good pump. So I'm wondering if this is going to turn into an expanded flat, where we have our ABC here. Basically, an expanded flat is a B wave taking out the high in a corrective form. Unless of course this is, you know, just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, we do have 5 waves in here, so I wouldn't really say it's an expanded flat too much. But yeah, it's big decisions coming in. I mean, when I look at TRon, I mean, TRon has just been unstoppable, right? I know they have a lot of money locked up in TRon, but I mean, that looks like a huge cup and a handle. I mean, that looks like, it looks too perfect. It looks interesting. I don't own any TRon, but man, I wish I did back then. I know a lot of people had locked it up, you know, Solana, TRon, and I think Avalanche or something like that. PEPE, it looks like a inverse head and shoulders here. Boom, boom, boom. We broke out, and now we're retesting it. Let's see if we can continue higher, right? I mean, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 waves, so I would like to see some type of 3-way pullback and retest here. So it looks like we still got a little bit of downside to go, if I had to guess. Right, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Let's get down in here, retest the bull market support band. The stock market is pumping. By the way, let me try to zoom out as much as I can here. You can see this line here, right? I mean, that's the stock market. You could see the line here, right? This resistance line, boom. And now we're starting to break above it. If I just draw it out, I mean, we're still breaking above it. So the monthly chart on the stock market, and this is important, I'm just free balling here, but I mean, it's still relatively bullish. We do have a 3-wave shape. I'd like to see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Problem is, though, we want to get this through this retracement level. We did retest the bull market support band. We bounced off nicely. But are we going to get through the retracements? We have one more retracement to get through. I'd like to see it get a little bit higher there. But yeah, it's looking good. It looks like it needs a pullback though. 3-wave pullback, and then hopefully a continuation to the 1618. That would be nice. And then that would allow crypto to hopefully get some momentum. BNB looks interesting. It's kind of just, actually doesn't look too interesting. It's kind of just ranging in here. It's flagging out. I mean, look, it's so bullish. It hasn't even tested its bull market support band yet. I mean, dang, it's just been going sideways. Interesting. I think because a lot of people are not in crypto, you know, they take profits, right? So they basically just hold BNB. Let's see, Bitcoin dominance. I haven't looked at this in a while. So we have bearish divergence on the Bitcoin dominance. That's good, right? You can see the Bitcoin dominance is rising, but the RSI is falling. So we'll see if that trend continues. But yeah, it looks like an ending diagonal in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, maybe we get C. When I look at like coins like Fantom, I mean they're holding nicely. I mean they got, you know, they're holding a range on the bull market support. This is everything we can ask for, right? We have a nice A, B, C, and we're ranging on the bull market support band. So, you know, when I look at Fantom, it looks pretty good. Let's look at the smaller time frame. Yeah, we're just, you know, consolidating in here. So just need to wait for that next signal on what it's going to do, right? I mean, ranging is a way to get retail out, because we come down here, retail sells. We come back up, they buy. Come back down, they sell. Come back up, they buy. Come back down, they sell, right? They keep doing that and they wipe themselves out, and then it sort of tricks you and then goes. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just giving you an example. That's kind of what happens a lot with how ranges affect retail. One thing that has been very, very well, at least in the last 6 months, is the meme coins, right? If you look at the sectors like layer 1, layer 2, meme coins have been the best, and that's interesting. They're really momentum plays. Shib still looks decent. I mean, did it test the bull market support band? I think it did. I'm pretty sure. It came very, very close. But yeah, I mean, it's got a nice trend line here. Almost too perfect. And look at that. So what is happening here? Right? Is this some type of head and shoulders in here, right? Maybe. Could be. Right? We're sort of leading in here. So it's kind of difficult to know. I mean, it could be, you know, a triangle. 1, 2, 3. A, B, C, D, E. Tag to low. And then go. It looks good though. It still looks good. But the issue with Shib though, it's got a lot of risk, because if it does break down, I mean, we're going way down in here, right? And that wouldn't be bad. It would just be backtesting. I mean, look how big the base is for Shib, right? I mean, that's huge, much bigger, and it's flat too. It's not waning down. It's a perfect base. So you break out. You have an A, you can come up for B, come back down for C, back test, right? Hopefully that gets us towards October and November, and then we can start going. If it's going to be the bearish case. If it's the bullish case, we want to flag out and keep going. When I look at things like Uniswap, it looks terrible. I mean, it looks okay. It just I mean, maybe it's a diagonal where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. I don't know. It just, the way it came down, it went very quickly. We're right back down in here. I guess you can say it back tested maybe. But it doesn't look too good. I know they got hit with a lawsuit as well, so we'll see. XDC. So I started out just doing Theta, but look at that. We're doing a rapid fire video. You just never know what you're gonna get with me. But I'll always put it in the subtitle so you'll know ahead of time. But yeah, XDC, it just, going back, it's just correcting, right? We just got to wait for it to stop. I like the fact that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have somewhat of a leading diag here. So if we can develop a base, you can see this block right here. If we could develop a base right in here, it's going to look pretty good, right, for a bottom to come out. And it's got a nice bull flag look, right? We have this trend going up and this wavy correction going down, which usually means we're about to push back up. And then that would also make sense because even if it is only a retracement, right, we still need a retracement, right? We had this huge, I made some good money, by the way, on XDC last cycle. I remember back over here, when it first came out, well, not when it first came out, but somewhere over here, I traded this move, and then I just never got in or never messed with it ever since. I know it's big with the XRP community, but we'll see about that. I think it'll do well in the future, but we had a rise, we had a crash, and we have potentially a retracement, but I don't like the way it came up. So it looks like 1, 2, 3. It looks like it needs to come up here. Let's see, where did it retrace to? Yeah, it only came to the 382, so I don't think it's finished, right? It would be an awful big B wave, right? If this is going to turn into a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways blast off, something like that I can see, unless we have some momentum to push us out. But it looks, if we do break out, it's going to look very three-wave-ish, very corrective looking. So that's where it's all going to come down to, is in these retracement levels. Polkadot, I mean, we had a range, we broke out, we back tested. Let's see if we hold it. You kind of want to get back up in here, right? You had the big crash, we're working on our retracement. It's not going to happen very fast because we're still moving in corrective behavior. This is impulsive. This is more corrective, right? Once we get through those retracement levels, then that's technically the real bull run, where you get impulsive. So when you look at others, basically all the altcoins outside of the top 10, it still looks pretty decent, right? Again, we have our backtest area. We did actually come down and backtest. Here's our range in here. So my dog is dreaming and he's whimpering. He's just like, if you have a dog, I'm sure when they dream, they start whimpering and moving around, chasing cats or whatever they do in their dreams. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I basically, that's all I have to say for now. When I look at others, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. It looks like we need a wave 4. And if it is a wave 4, it's probably going to be big, because look how big wave 2 was, right? So, kind of, again, we're in a very interesting spot where many different things could happen. And a big part of that is because, Here's point A, here's point B. We're right in the middle of the retracement levels, so anything can happen up here. This is where all the danger occurs. This is where all the hopium occurs, all the danger, right? This could be where the bulls break out. This could be where the bears break down. So, you know, it's kind of in an interesting situation. So, but I'll be here. Make sure to subscribe when we can keep following along and then see how this plays out. But as long as we hold above that support band, we're still technically bullish. So let's keep doing it, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.